It's all fizzing up beautifully. And then
Okay. Well, welcome to this yin practice. We're going to be doing mainly yin poses, but we'll mix in a few active poses as well. Something that I wanted to bring up today is something that I don't bring up too often. At the very end of the Yoga Sutras, which is the book compiled of the yogic philosophy, there's a third and fourth chapter that talk about siddhis. And siddhis are attainments, mystical powers, so to speak, or gifts that you can receive from doing these type of practices. So just remember that the Yoga Sutras was compiled at a time when really physical postures weren't even much of a thing other than poses to sit. There were pranayama, breathing exercises and things of that nature. But if you look at that philosophy, it's really about practicing a moral code of conduct to reduce suffering for yourself and to reduce the suffering in the world, or imposing that on others. It's really to improve our health and happiness, and it gives you lots of tools in order to train the mind. So at the very end of the book, it says, hey, you keep doing these practices, you keep doing these techniques, and it's possible you might attain one of these powers. And I wanted to bring up what some of those were today. Some of them are things like being able to foresee the future for yourself or for somebody else. It could be that you recognize your past lives, you have a remembrance of that, or you can read another person's past life. It's also gifts like being able to understand the workings and the mystery of the universe, even if you're not well studied in science. It's being able to innately know the inner workings of the body without all the biology courses. It's being able to make yourself somewhat invisible and to be able to kind of disappear in the masses of the people. Some mention you can glow, you can actually light up. And there's actually stories of saints that have, become like a really bright light. There's another thing called super strength. And again, that's not crazy or unusual if we think about if someone was in an accident, or they, came upon an accident and maybe a car had rolled over a person. There's stories of people's adrenaline kicking in so much that they have the strength to lift the car. This, however, is talking about just being able to have that amount of strength without the adrenaline rush. Let's see if those were the things I wanted to mention. Yes. Also understanding other languages, being able to hear someone speak in a language that you're not well versed in, and you just understand what they're saying. We saw that in the biblical scriptures. I think it was the Pentecost, where all these languages were being used, and the apostles could understand not only the language, but could even speak another language. So it's not that these things have never been heard of, but the difference with yoga, it tells you these things are possible, but then it goes on to say, and if it happens, continue to practice non-attachment so that it doesn't become an obstacle to your devotion to the divine, or it doesn't become an obstacle or a hang up for you to be able to experience profound peace. Right? So just think about if you were able to prophesy, certain events that were going to take place in the future, it might be nightmarish, it might take away your profound peace, which is why the yogis say, well, just let it go, 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 because we want to let go of all the things that bog us down so that we can experience the true goal of yoga, which is not about any of these superpowers. The true goal of yoga is about freedom. How can I be free? How can I express freedom? How can I have inner freedom? So with that in mind, we'll meet on the mat. And we're going to start in banana asana. So banana asana is on our backs, and we're going to send the feet together and over to the right corner. And the arms are going to lift up overhead, and then we'll swerve the upper body to the right as well. Now, some teachers will ask you to cross the ankles, but I don't do that for this pose because it can disrupt circulation. You want to keep both shoulder blades planted, both sits bones resting, and both heels on the ground. Let there be softness in your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, and hands. So it's okay for the arms to bend. It's okay for the fingers to curl in. It's okay if the feet want to flop one way or another. So close your eyes. I want you to imagine as you begin to breathe deeply in and out through the nose. Imagine in your mind's eye the symbol of Om. At the upper right-hand corner of that symbol, it looks like a crescent moon, similar to the shape that we're in. And above that point is a dot, a bindi, that represents the pure state of consciousness. And that crescent moon represents the veil. It could be the veil of ignorance, just not knowing. The veil of illusion, which distorts true reality. Or the veil of forgetfulness. The point of these techniques and practices is to break through the veil. So it's when we break through the veil into that super state of consciousness that we might get these gifts. Oh, another one is telepathy. Being able to read another's mind or talk to another through the mind. Breathe well. We're opening up the lunar side, the feminine side. Where it's possible to deposit sadness. So think about breathing in joy and breathing out any and all sadness. Breathing in joy. Breathing out anything that opposes that. Inhale, let's separate the left leg and the left arm. And bring the head to the center point between the shoulders. You're making that star shape. Now go ahead and slide your right foot over to join the left. Take the right arm up and curve the upper body to the left. Bandana asana. Now opening the right side, the masculine side, where we tend to deposit anger. So on this side, imagine you're breathing in love, breathing out anger. I'll give you more quiet time as we continue. But when it's talking about the siddhis and the attainments in the sutras, it says there's a few other ways that people can receive these, such as just being born with the gift, maybe through ancestral ties. It could be herbs and plant medicine. It could be mantras. Or it could be long bouts of steady concentration. Concentrate here. Concentrate on observing yourself inside and out. Creating a Buddha belly as you breathe in. Feeling it soften as you breathe out. Inhale, separate your right limbs. Let your head naturally roll to center. On your next in-breath, you're going to bend both knees. And as you exhale, you're going to cross your left ankle over the right thigh. And we're coming into that half pigeon or figure four. And there are moments or days where this might be too much. So it may be that you just want your right foot to stay planted down. It may be that you want to stack your right foot on a block to bring the legs a little closer towards your torso. We don't always have to hug in. But since we're being more yin today, let your right foot flop down. And only pull in to the degree that feels good to you. Put more ease than effort into the equation. So in active yoga, it's more about doing and breathing. And in yin, it's more about being and breathing. Let's release. Step both feet back to the floor and now cross your right ankle over your left knee. Test the waters here. This may be perfect. If you want a little more, stand the foot up on the block or maybe catch the thigh with your hands. But then let the feet relax. Softly breathing, breathing softly. Let go and release the left foot to the floor, but keep your right ankle as is. We're going to fan the arms out and let the knees roll right. So that right foot stays stacked as a little weight bearing. But if that's aggravating to the SI joint or your low back for any reason, just slip the right foot down to the ground. It doesn't have to be propped up. You can also do goddess arms here, which will help to lengthen the back, but also give a little upliftment to the chest. So let your right foot drop if it hasn't already. Feel the difference in the twist. And inhale, lift the knees. All right, we'll take that to the other side. Left ankle crosses again over the right knee. Roll to the inner edge of the right foot and send the knees to the left. So this is great for that gallbladder meridian, for the stomach meridian. Earlier this week, we did a theme based on the lymphatic system and how the lymphatic tissues are clustered in the neck, throat, armpits, chest, belly, and growing region. We also talked about deep diaphragmatic breathing assisting our lymphatic system. And often I mentioned the digestive system, so I wanted to bring up another benefit this week. If your left foot is still stacked, sink it down to the floor. Feel the difference in the twist. Continue to allow the belly to bellow. And then feel free to roll to your left side since we're turning that direction anyway. And slowly push into that right hand to come up. All right, what we're gonna do is come to stand at the top of the mat. So once you come to stand, we're not gonna necessarily release or root the feet or engage the legs. So just stand, hands to prayer position at the heart. As we inhale, just float the arms up, and on the exhale, release down, but bend the knees. So that you're actually coming into dangling pose. So one thing that I don't mention often is that poses like this, where we're folding forward in Uttanasana or dangling pose or downward facing dog, sometimes that can be really aggravating to the sinuses when you have allergies or a cold. So in order to be able to keep the breath open, you can straighten your legs, you can prop the hands onto the shins and extend the spine so the head is not bowing as much. So even though I have allergies today, I'm gonna dive back in. So that is a personal choice. Just notice how your body may want to shift, how it may sway. Or you may notice certain body patterns. Stay in the mode of concentration. Focusing on form, sensation. And withdrawing from the senses. On your next inhale, we're going to sit the left foot back. We're going to lunge the right knee and descend the back knee to the floor. This is where you may want some extra padding. I do have 2 mats here. We're going to stack the hands on top of the knee as we sink down through the hips. So this is actually a little bit more intense. So if you need to lean forward, hands to blocks or hands to floor, that's okay. We're basically doing the high flying dragon. Now when I'm in high flying dragon, sometimes I notice my shoulders start to shrug up towards the ears. So just relax your shoulders down. And I wouldn't suggest closing the eyes in this pose. You may feel compelled to, and of course you can if you want, but you'll notice if you close your eyes, This is really a balancing pose, and it can throw you off and make you wobbly. And if this is an area where you're, maybe more arthritic today, it would probably be best for you to have the hands down and to just do little rocks back and forth with your breath. Or if you need like a momentary break, you could do the rocking and then come back to hold in a more static way. Calmly breathing, breathing calm. If you haven't already lowered, let's do that. And we're going to curl the back toes under, pick up the back knee, and step into downward facing dog. Root your hands. Push up and out of your wrist. Slide up into your sacrum. Gaze towards that space between the feet. A little bit more effort involved in this position. Take one more inhale. Exhale, come down to your knees. Shift your weight forward and then dip down like you're going to kiss the earth. And then inhale, slither through, walk the forearms in front, come to seats. Lengthen your legs back, thigh bones, shin bones, feet. And when you activate the legs, feel the buttocks get firmer. Root your elbows, retract your belly, open your heart, and find the perfect angle for your head and neck. So we're being active in Sphinx, staying on the top of the feet, keeping the heels parallel. And the breath flowing. If this is too much for the low back, you can always slide your forearms forward and drop to your low ribs. That adjustment may be important in the next stage that we're going into. So let's go ahead and enter into it. The right forearm's going to cross in front. The left foot is going to lift. Now, if you just need to be here, that's okay. But you might be able to take that left hand around, find the foot, and to pull it down towards your outer thigh. In other words, you don't want it crossing over towards your tailbone. So here you can be propped up like Sphinx, or you can lower and slide the arm out so it's not so much in your back. Find what works for you today. This is really targeting the stomach meridian according to Chinese medicine. Something we call half frog. Be patient with your body because this one can be intense. Exhale, let's release that foot. Cross the left arm in front of your chest. Pick up the right foot. Send your right hand behind you and maybe use the hand like a lever to pull it down towards your outer hip. Keep your heart propped up. Eyes can close. Make any adjustments to make it more breathable and doable. Let's release the right foot. We're coming down to the brow, sliding the hands up underneath the shoulders. Push up to table, curl the toes, and go to downward facing dog. Drawing in and up through the belly. Like you're not bowing the back. And on your next in-breath, let's step the left foot forward and up between the hands. Once you lunge that knee and place the back knee to the floor, we're coming into that higher dragon. Excuse me, felt that coming. Remember, you can also lean down. You can have hands to blocks. And if you're arthritic or just super stiff today, you can rock back and forth. Shoulders relax down, away from the face. Setting your drishti at one place. Don't be alarmed if one side is more feasible than the other. I often suggest closing the eyes in yin, but maybe not that pose, especially where you're taller. All right, last breath. And then bring the hands down if they're not already. Curl the back toes. We're stepping right back to downward facing dog. Holding and breathing here in this inversion. On your next out breath, we're dropping to the knees, shifting forward to chest and chin, Ashtanga Pranam. Inhale, slide through to the belly again, and reform Sphinx. Now, in Sphinx, we're going to first line up the legs to be parallel, activating the glutes, activating the core, just like we did before. And then slide the feet apart, rock the hips, and then slide your left knee up. Flip to the inside of your left foot. And this is where you may need a blanket or towel or something underneath that left knee. And if it's aggravating to the lower area of your back, you can travel the elbows forward and then bow into prayer hands. And this will activate an acupressure point here as well. I've had a visitor, it's actually a student's daughter, but she's visiting from Austin, Texas this week. And she's young, probably in her, I don't know, mid to late 20s. And she had a massive motorcycle accident. And she's still in her healing process. And she has a metal rod and pins in one of her legs. And I was just so blown away by all that she could do today in class. So just consider what this is requiring of your own body, your own muscles, bones, and joints. Maybe have a moment of gratitude for the health of your body, for the miraculous structure of the body, for the body's intelligence, and how it's capable of healing. So think about if the body is capable of all that, imagine what the mind and the heart and the soul is capable of. Which is why going over these cities and these attainments, I think, is important. All right, since we began in Sphinx, we may be in prayer hands. Let's go ahead and bring it back to the Sphinx with the left leg joining the right. And then slide your right knee up in line with your hip, flipping to the inside of the right foot. And then checking here to see if this will work or if you need to modify some. And then feel free to close your eyes. Let's go ahead and begin to lift the head. Walk the arms in. Slide the right leg back. And then we'll roll down towards the face and slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Push up to table. And exhale to downward facing dog. Now walk and travel the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Lower down and in. Coming back to dangling pose. You can hang the arms like a rag doll, or you can cup your elbows. Remember, energy is vibration, so as the energy erupts in the back of the body, generally what creates this swaying, this little movement. On your next inhale, press through the feet, take the arms up overhead. And then exhale, concluding this Surya Namaskara, bringing hands to heart. Then we're going to come down. And you may want to turn sideways on your mat like I'm doing, because we're going to do like the full frog. So we step the knees wide open, and then we flip the feet out. Like frog legs. We work down to our forearms, kind of like Sphinx pose. And usually this is enough. But if you want more, you just push back a little bit with your hips. Sometimes it's nice to put a bolster underneath the body to make it a little bit more restorative. But we're going to be straight at the end today, unless you just really need that support. All right, I'm ready to come out. So, there's no real graceful way to come out of this. We're just going to stack onto the hands, work one knee or leg in, and then the other. Whew. Sitting cross-legged, hands to knees, and you're just going to circle several times one way. And then reverse the circles. Come back up. We're going to lie down on our backs with the knees bent. And then we'll take the left knee in towards the chest. So oftentimes I see people just really squeezing as tightly as possible, but that can actually put a little strain on the low back. This is going to help to reset the back before Shavasana. While we're here, you can go ahead and be thinking about what pose you want to reside in for your deep breaths today. And then let's release the left and take it to the right. Holding and breathing. Now release that knee and prepare for Shavasana. So if you want to make it restorative, you want to lay out in traditional forks or pentacle pose, pick one. Set up, be comfortable, and close your eyes. Magnify the breath for a few rounds. And then it can drop into its own natural state. And it's up to you to determine, do you just simply want to relax and drift? Or do you want to be more meditative, more mindful, more tuned in? If so, use a technique. Maybe observing your breath, reciting a mantra, or envisioning a symbol in your mind's eye. Deep in the flow of our breath. Begin to create a little movement. And eventually exiting the pose that you chose. Coming up to take a seat. However, I'd like us to sit on a prop. And we're going to have just a couple moments, minutes together in meditation. Since meditation is the pinnacle of yoga. Since it's really meditation that can help us to get these attainments. So sitting up, closing the eyes. Quieting the mind. So you can enter into that realm of what is possible. It is said that just a few minutes of meditation a day can reduce colossal suffering. Imagine what longer increments of meditation per day could help us to attain. Now joining your hands to prayer. Om, Om, Om. Remembering the goal of yoga is not to attain any of these special mystical powers. The true goal of yoga is freedom. I hope you have freed up something in yourself today. Namaste.